Kral Space. I'm Kim Kral. I am reporting to you not live from my closet. Hi, everybody. Hi. Feeling a bit better today. Last week I was, well, depending on when you hear this, I was battling some headaches. Still have the headaches, so I don't know if I'm just kind of getting used to it or what's happening, but I don't know. It's so funny. Like, I just don't know when you're supposed to go to the doctor, right? My nose is running. I just don't know when you're supposed to go to the doctor. Cause, like, obviously, like when I broke my arm, I needed to go to the doctor because my arm was broken. They had to like do shit to it. Actually, all they did was just put it in a cast so I didn't move it for 6 weeks, which, obviously is good. I'm glad they did that. Cause, well, first she was going to put me in not a cast. She had me in like a brace. And then my second checkup, I was like, it's like super painful. Is there a way? And she was like, oh, we'll get you a cast. You just didn't seem like you needed one. Because as I said last week, I have a really high pain tolerance because I grew up in a walk it off family. And so she was like, I just didn't think that you were really in that much pain because you didn't really act like you were. I was like, oh, yeah, because I wasn't allowed to show emotion or weakness as a child because then you would not be loved. I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to show emotion or weakness as a child because that was showing weakness, and then that means you were vulnerable. And God forbid you be vulnerable. I don't know why I'm talking like this, like I'm some old army guy. I'm sipping coffee. Sorry. And if you can hear that, oh my God, I've been really getting into AMSR, which like 5 years ago I thought was so stupid. Like kids are like making millions of dollars on the internet just to like make noises in their microphones and now on TikTok. But dude, it is so relaxing if you get the right person to making the noises and then what they whisper to you. That's what I fall asleep to every night now. They're like Reiki masters who do AMSR, and it knocks me out quicker than anything ever has. Knocks me the fuck out. And so, yeah, I thought I just sipped my coffee and I was like, maybe some people like that. I don't know. Wow. I just woke up from like kind of a nap and I'm a little tired. I've been feeling, so I wanted to read this poem. Hear me out. I know that that's not a fun way to start a sentence. I want to read a poem and you guys are like, ew, please don't read us a poem. But I've been feeling like just really defeated lately, just really defeated, because I had to stop running for a little bit because I hurt my ankle. It feels better now, but I've just been off of it. So I'm going to be working all weekend and on my feet. So we'll see if it's better then. Right. I had this like running goal and now I have to kind of put it in the back burner because, I have to listen to my body. My head has been like hurting way more than not. Like, it hurts more than it doesn't hurt, which is just really obnoxious. And I don't know, am I supposed to go to the doctor for that? I also have had, I guess this is because, again, I'm out of poop scoops, guys. I'm going to set up something for the poop scoop. All right, this is what I'm going to do. Because I know some people are like, oh, I'd rather just tell it to you and you remember it. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that because my brain has 600,000 things going through it at once. But what I want to do, if you want to send me like a voice memo, I will play it on air, like I'm live, but I'll figure out a way to like put the clip in. Well, I know how to put it in. So just like, yeah. So if you want to send me your poop scoops and you want to tell me your poop scoops, leave it in a voice memo and message me or email me at kimkralspace@gmail.com. KYMKRALSPACE@gmail.com. And yeah, email that. And it can be short or long or like whatever you want. You can say your name. You don't have to say your name, whichever you want, but send them to me or just write them out. But I know like talking them might be easier and much more fun. Funner is what I almost said. But yeah, like I also have had like, so the poop scoop, I've had diarrhea, like bad diarrhea for like 2 weeks, guys. I think, and I'm wondering if that's where my headaches are coming from. Like, I'm going to have to pause this because I think I'm going to go blow out the toilet again. God damn it. It's so annoying. And my nose is running. I'm having a day. My body, I just feel like my body's fucking shutting down on me in every possible way. And I have had like, I've just been like, it's like taken me to like a really shitty place mentally. And then I had like 3 bartending jobs in the last month that I thought, this is so complainy, but hear me out. There's like a good message at the end of it. But I've had like 3 bartending jobs that were supposed to be like super lucrative, and they kind of turned out not to be. And so I've just been like really down, and just really like, when you get into like the pity party mode where you're like, what does it matter? Nothing matters. And like, I'm working so hard to not work at a bar, but like, it's just, I'm stressed. My body is shutting down. My head hurts. I do have the lung doctor soon, which is exciting. By the time this is aired, it'll be like 5 days, which over like a week or something. Very excited. But yeah, like I just like, the last few days I've just felt really shitty mentally. And I've been kind of taking it out internally on people I love. Not like I know enough that when I feel shitty and I'm reacting to how people are being in the world, I know that it is a me thing and not really a them thing. Like, if that makes sense, like I know that like if everyone in my life is pissing me off, I think I might be the common denominator. And I know it's just because I'm like in a bad place mentally. My head just really hurt. I'm so tired. It's just a lot of my long haul COVID symptoms are just really ramped up recently. And I don't understand why or where that is coming from. I was on such a good streak of like maintaining it. And lately it's just been like I haven't been able to get out of bed and my head just is pounding. But so like just like I've been just like in a shitty place mentally, and not really wanting, and kind of isolating from friends, and because I know that I've just been like pissed off at people for just being who they are, and that's not who I am at all. I've just been triggered and projecting. And so a couple of days ago I was like, I need to just take a break. Like Tuesday, I had nothing. I had like 2, responsibilities, and I got those done. And then I just like slept all day. And then Wednesday, I had like 2 again. And then same thing with today. I'm recording on a Thursday. I've had a couple of adult things, and and this morning I woke up and I felt a little bit better. So like the last 2 days, I've just been really like doing nothing, just being like, you don't have to like, because I think I don't know if this is relatable, but I get caught up in the like, oh my God, my to-do list is so long. I have all these goals, things I want to do, what I want to do with my life. And like, I have all this shit that needs to be done, needs to be completed. If I'm going to fix this goal or do that or change this, like, it's like, I put all this pressure on myself to like get it all done by like tomorrow night at 5 p.m. And if I don't get all these like self-imposed goals done by tomorrow at 5 p.m., I will not praise myself for even getting one of them done, and I will be angry at myself for the next 3 weeks. You know what I like? It's just like I will punish myself. And the last 2 days, I'm like, you just got to breathe, man. It's always worked out. It's just always worked out. So this poem, my mom got it for me. She didn't write it. It's like an old poem. That'd be funny if you guys found out. Like, my mom's a very good poet. But she got this frame for me for my high school graduation present. She got this, and then she got me Britney Spears' "Baby One More Time" Barbie doll, which I still have and love. Thanks, Mom. And I think some money or something like that. This was back when my mom was like, my little brother was about to be born, so she was like super pregnant, and she had been sober for a while, and she was, a mom that my mom. And so and I've been having a hard time with that a lot lately, is that it's just like come to my attention that that's probably it, in terms of her. I miss her. I miss her a lot. And I wish a whole lot of the time things were different, but they're not. And having her in my life as she is now is not good for me. And I have to take care of numero uno. But I did print this. So I have the original that she framed. I have the original somewhere in a box, right? Because it's fucking huge. Beautiful, but huge. And so I got a little one and, shrunk it down, and I have it on my refrigerator. And this is like this poem. I don't know. It's written by Anonymous, and it's called "Don't Quit." And it's helped me the last couple of days because it's like rest if you must. So I'm going to read it to you. This is a crawl space new one that we're going to read a poem on crawl space, but here we are. Okay. I think I got a burp. Hold on. No, I guess I don't. Okay. Oh, there it goes. Gross. Excuse me. Remember when I had the show with someone who used to just belch all the time? God, I hated that. I think it's so gross. All right. I mean, I'm fine if you just have like what I just did, like that happens. We have human bodies, but the people that are like, I just think it's so gross. So gross. All right. Well, don't quit. So, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the depths are high, and when you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You might succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night slipped down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit. I needed to read that, and I don't know if somebody else needed to hear that. It's just been really tough lately. It's you put all this work into all these things, and it's like the instant results that we're all accustomed to, living in a technology world. And I didn't end up getting that job, that big opportunity that I was up for a couple of weeks ago. I did not get it, but I didn't get it. It was like at the final interview, they were like, this is how it works. The answer after today will be yes, no, or not right now. And I got a not right now, which is bizarre, but something I kind of stand by. I don't know how much I can say about it. I didn't sign anything, but I also don't want to have my voice out there saying something shitty about this company because I would like to work at it at some point. I also am under the school of thought that if this seemed really great, that means that something better is going to come along that's going to be even better. I know that, and I know that I'm always taken care of, I'm taking action, I'm working hard, things will fall into place, but sometimes we get into low points. And I think it's important to share those with each other because we live in a world where, social media is just so the center point, and people just share their victories with each other, and then it creates this culture of comparing your insides to other people's outsides. So I've made it a point to in my life share the shitty as well as the victories. And I'm in a bad spot right now. I'll be fine, comparative to a lot of people in the world, even people that live down the street from me, and tents and shit. I'm doing fine, but I'm just feeling a little discouraged. I got a maybe with the job. I do think that I said something in the interview about my morals. That sounds so vague and so ooh, interessante, tell us more. But I said something about just what I wasn't willing to do in the job. And this particular company there's been a lot of articles that have been written specifically around race and what they do with race, and how they've gotten a lot of flack for how they've handled diversity issues. And I just was and they were like, how comfortable are you with this? And I was like, oh, not at all. I'm not doing that at all. And they were like, got it. That's totally fine. Cause they can't, but they said it was other reasons, but they also said they were going to keep me on their roster when something comes open for me. That's so vague, but that was a hard hit that just sucked because it was something I was hoping for. But today I woke up after 2 days of resting and just trying to just be you know what, it's going to work out. Just breathe. Let's focus on our health. Let's ice our ankle. Let's just, I got new bed sheets and a new comforter, and it looks very nice in here. Henry, see, it's a lot softer than the other one. The other one was super soft, but Henry just like destroyed it within one day because it was just the material was very destroyable. And now he's just asleep on it. But like, I just like did some real self-care the last few days. And not self-care, like I know people are, especially now, people are like the positive toxicity of like the positive toxicity, where it's like, oh, if you take a million bubble baths, that's going to help your mental health. And maybe it will, but like there also is like medical reasons for people's mental health. As in like get your ass to a therapist and maybe get on meds if you need it. There's no shame in that. I have thought about actually getting back on meds in the last couple of weeks, because it is if you do struggle with mental illness like I do, like I've been really open about, maintaining is not easy. I know I have to do like 6 specific things every single day in order to maintain my alignment with myself and my mental health. I know I have to do those. And sometimes some days are easier than others. Some days I wake up and I'm like 5 a.m. bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I don't know what the fuck that means, but that's a saying. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I'm like ready to conquer the world. And then other days I can't seem to get out of bed, and I force myself to do these things. And lately it's just been harder and harder. And I know a lot of it has to do with my physical health, but I woke up this morning and I felt a shift. I had a bunch of auditions today. I'm doing this. This is a week early. If you are a Patreon subscriber, first of all, thank you so much for supporting the show in that way. If you want to be a Patreon subscriber, you can just go to my website, kimkral.com, and under crawl space, there's like a drop down box that says Patreon, or you can just go to patreon.com/kimkral and become a Patreon subscriber, and you will get each episode. You'll be getting it a week early now. That is a week early. And then you get 2 bonus episodes. And I am recording my book. There's a couple of other goals I have centered around my book. So it's sort of like sort of a pin in it right now. But as soon as there is an audiobook version of Confessions of a Recovering Party Girl, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you get a free download of that. But yeah, so I woke up and I was like, oh, I'm going to do this today. I had like 3 auditions, maybe 4. And I sent out emails. Like I've started to, and then I got like 3 bartending jobs. Now the bartending jobs, I'm grateful for them. I'm so grateful for them, but it's not what I want to do with my life. I'm really grateful that I have this skill. I'm grateful I'm good at it. I'm grateful that I have a bunch of freelance bartending jobs that has, paid my bills for a little bit of time. I'm so grateful I don't work at like an actual bar. The like what that has done for my mental health is literally night and day. Like working at an actual bar is just like it's just a lot of drama. And I know I've worked at like offices and shit, and they're, humans have a lot of drama, but there's just something about restaurants and bars that just cultivate this like wild culture that just like there's it's just dramatic. I don't know how else to describe it. It's petty, it's catty, it's cliquey, and you can be like, I don't care as much as you want. Like that's kind of what I do. I'm working with this company where I do the freelance bartending, where I do this brings me into a story I wanted to tell today. I do, I work with a lot of the same people. And I don't get involved in the drama or the friendships. Like there's people that I work with that I really like, that work with this company that I really like, and I hug and I see how they're doing. We follow each other on Instagram, like it's a whole thing. But I don't care about their drama or any of the stuff that, not just the drama, but like any of the stuff that like any of the bullshit. And it's easy to not get involved in the bullshit with a company if you're not working there like every single day or like 4 times a week or whatever. But so years ago, when I worked at that nightclub in Koreatown, which is really funny, I'm actually going to work there this weekend. I work there sometimes if they need a filler, if somebody's taking the weekend off or whatever. So I'm working there this weekend, which I'm very excited about. Because it hits differently. I worked there a couple of months ago, and it hits differently when you don't actually work at the nightclub or the bar that you like fill in for, because you literally don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, oh, I'm here to make money, and all the drama and I gotta sneeze. Oh no, if you're on YouTube, you're gonna watch this. I don't know if I'm a pretty Steve. Geez, bless me. You're just like there's like any problems or drama that's happening in the bar, they like know they can't come to you to ask you because you're like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I don't care. So I love it. But when I used to work there, all the time, which honestly was one of my better bar gigs I've had. Like it was like I worked like 3 days a week and I made all the money I needed to pay my bills. And my manager was cool because people didn't tip us. We were allowed to either grat them or tell them we didn't want to serve them or call them out in front of everybody, which was really fun. They're like 5 bartenders are working right on like a Friday night. And if someone doesn't tip you, you go, hey, to the manager, and she's bartending too. And you go, that guy right here, he didn't tip. And then everyone looks at him, and then she'd be like, hey, to the next bartender. And we get all the bartenders to look at this one person and be like, that guy didn't tip. And we'd be like, oh, okay, cool. And he's like, oh. And like, we only like, obviously to call somebody out, because fuck you for not tipping your bartender or server or any tipped service person. Fucking tip. If you can't afford a tip, you can't afford whatever you're doing for the thing. I will stand by that until I die. I don't care. People are like, what if a family of 5? I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I stand by that, and I don't care if I sound like a dick, because I think you're a dick if you think that it's acceptable to not tip a service person, because you're like, well, I work hard for my money. So does that person. And that's what they do for their money. It's custom. It's the country we live in. If you don't like it, too bad. Don't go out then. Like people are like, well, in Europe, they don't tip. It's like, yeah, but in Europe, a burger is like $40 because they supplement that. And like prices are raising because the minimum, there's a whole thing we can get into. I don't know why I'm getting into it right now, but I loved working at the place because you could call out people. And either you would grab them if like we'd all know who it was, and then we would all grat the person that didn't tip, and it was just cool. But anyway, so a couple years ago, this is so funny because this is the company I freelance for, and the nightclub I was working at. It's like a story all combined in one. So I was working at the nightclub. It's in Koreatown. It's called Terracotta. If you want it, well, by the time you guys get this, I will not have. The weekend will have come and gone, but it's a fun place if you ever want to check it out. It's just a nightclub. I don't know. I'm not really into nightclubs nowadays, but if I was a young 20-something, I would have loved that place. Anyway, so I was working one day, and it's also right next to the Wiltern. And so we would work some like shifts, like when it'd have a show or whatever. So we'd open for happy hour for if the show, the Wiltern's a music venue if you're not in Los Angeles. And so there was these 3 women that used to come by all the time, and I would serve them, and we would do shots of tequila, and we'd, get along. They were really awesome. And like a couple, so like 2018, I'm going to say, they were in one day and they were like, hey, we run this event company. Would you want to work Pride this weekend? It was like June, Pride. And I was like, oh, no, thanks. And they're like, you'll probably make like $600. And I was like, oh, yeah, then I will do it. Yes, I will work Pride. Because every time I've ever worked any like event, it's like you make $150 and it's not worth all the work you do. Right. But I was like, oh, $600. Sure, I'm in. So I work it, and it's a lot of fun. And there's this guy, I still don't know this fucking guy's name. There's this guy that was really nice. The whole, like, we bartended in the same bar, and he was really nice. He was really cool. We talked all day, and I couldn't tell, I still have no idea. I couldn't tell if he was gay or straight. But he was really, really nice. And he asked if I wanted to go get a drink after we were done bartending. And that was the point of why it mattered. I was like, I can't tell if he's hitting on me or if he's gay and he just wants to hang out. I don't know which one, right? Is he straight or gay? Didn't know. But I was like, yeah. Let's go get a drink. And I was like, let's go to Kitchen 24 in West Hollywood, because we were in West Hollywood. My friends own Kitchen 24. Let's go there. And he's like, perfect. So we got separated, or he had to lift some shit or something. I didn't have to lift the stuff. I don't know. But he was like, yeah, you go ahead and go, and I'll meet you there as soon as I'm done. I was like, cool. So I go, I get us a table, and I sit and I wait and I wait, and he never shows up. And it's kind of okay, because I know people that work there. My buddy was managing, and he's really funny. So he it was fine, because I like knew people. So it was like not, but it was like kind of like, oh, what a dick move. The guy stood me up, right? So I went home. He texted me the next day and he's like, "Hey, what are you up to tonight? Do you want to get a drink?" And I was like, "Dude, you stood me up last night. Like you never showed up to Kitchen 24. I like sat there and waited for you." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry." Like now I've talked to him and I'm like, I think there's a screw loose. I don't think it was malicious, but I was like, okay. And he was like, "Do you want to get a drink?" And I was like, "No, I'm working tonight." And I was working at the nightclub. And he was like, "Oh, okay. I'll come visit you. Where are you working?" And I tell him I'm working at Terracotta. So he shows up. And the first night it's fine. And he, I get him a shot and he's fine. And he, we drink and he's great and it's fine. Right. And he leaves. And I can't remember what had happened. Either he was like texting too much. I can't remember, but it was just like out of hand. I feel like something happened that first night, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But then he wouldn't stop texting me. And so the next weekend, he shows up and the bouncer comes in and he goes, "There's some guy outside who says he's your friend, but he's like super fucked up and he's like yelling that he's your friend." And I can't I think he like over texted me throughout the week or something like that, where it was just like too much, buddy. I can't remember, but there was like an event, but this like 4 years ago, but I just remember there was like an event that made me be like, "Ugh, hope that guy leaves me alone." And so the bouncer was like, "What do we do?" And I was like, "Guy that's really drunk? I don't know." And I walked outside, I saw him and I was like, "Ew, no, don't let him in. Just tell him he can't come in." So they're like, "Sorry, dude, Kim doesn't know you can't come in." And so he texts me the next day, much of the same, like a lot of like gibberish. I vaguely remember it just being really just obnoxious. And I was just like, "Hey man, please don't text me anymore. Like if you know me personally, or even if you've been listening to this podcast for 102 episodes now, how wild is that? You know that I don't, you don't really have to guess how I'm feeling. Like I'm not really a vague beat around the bush type of person. And so I was just like, "Hey man, don't text me anymore. Don't show up at my bar. Don't text me. You stood me up. Then you wouldn't stop texting. Then you didn't like, I was just like, I like listed the shit he had done. I was like, I'm just not interested. So please don't show up at my bar anymore and don't text me anymore." And he said something else. And then I think I blocked him. I was just like, "Well, I wasn't looking for a rebuttal. I'm telling you, I don't ever want to talk to you again." So I blocked him. So then I get asked, like I never get asked to work for the company again. And I didn't really think much of it. And then the pandemic hit. And then in 2021, when these events started coming up again, I got an email asking if I wanted to work the event. And it turns out that they were only like letting in their like favorites. So that was just a one-off. Like they didn't know me, so they had their like favorites. But then when they reopened, they had a vaccine mandate. So if you wanted to work for the company, you had to be vaccinated, which is a lot of places are doing that, and I wholeheartedly agree with it. And so a lot of their bartenders refused to get vaccinated. So they lost all these people. So they like reached into their old roster, which I was on, which thank God, because now I'm part of their roster and you make pretty good money doing these like 2-day jobs. Which is awesome. And so the first time, I think I'm going to have to poop again. I know I keep saying that and I haven't stopped the thing yet. And I don't want it to. Guys, do you go to okay, I'm going to finish this story and then I'm going to ask some more questions about poop. I can't. I love myself. So it makes me happy how comfortable I am being who I am. It wasn't always that way. Most of the time I've been in this human form, it's been that way. But there was a good chunk of like 8 years that I was very uncomfortable being Kim Kral, and now I am grateful that I am back to just loving being Kim Kral. She is great. So when I first worked the first, like maybe the second event, I thought I saw that guy and I was just like, "Oh my God, so uncomfortable." I was like, he probably doesn't remember me. And I know that's ridiculous. Of course he remembers me. I'm 5'11" redhead. Like I wasn't redhead back then. No, I think I was. But like, I know I don't blend in really. Like I'm not easily forgettable. I know that. But I was like hoping that I'm like, maybe he just doesn't, maybe he'll feel so awkward he won't say anything. So the guy didn't say anything to me all day. We worked a couple events. He never said anything to me. So this last weekend I worked an event, and the second day I saw him and I was like, "Oh God, I think it's that guy." But I'm like, I can't ask him. I can be like, "Hey, yo, were you a crazy person like 3 years ago and I told you to fuck off and then blocked you? What was your name again?" But so like I guess he's a bar back. I guess he wasn't a bartender, and that's why he had to meet me later because he had to still do load out at Pride Night because like all the bartenders left. I had no idea, but he was bar backing. So it's weekend. So it's Sunday. I'm at my new bar, and he's like handing me ice, and he's like, "You gonna cut someone today?" This is such an anticlimactic story. As soon as I got to this part, I was like, "This isn't really as interesting as I thought it was gonna be." Maybe the lead up to it, but he's like, "You gonna cut somebody today?" And I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, you're always like wanting to like fight someone." I was like, "I think you think I'm someone else. I don't want to fight anybody." And he was like, "Well, yeah, don't you work at that nightclub in Koreatown?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I used to." And he's like, "Yeah, remember me from like a couple years ago?" And I was like, "Oh, right. Hey." He's like, "Ha, hey." And then we just stared at each other, and I was like, "All right, well, I'm going to go get some jiggers. I'll see you around." And then he's like, yeah." And I was like, "Oh my God." And then I went, "Oh my God." And the girl next to me went, "What?" And then I told her the story. And then, of course, if you tell the story, someone next to them was like, "What happened? What happened?" So I'm sure. And then I didn't see him the rest of the time, which, couldn't tell you what his name was, though. Couldn't tell you. But he seemed off. Like all day Sunday, he just seemed like an off person. So I'm like, maybe he was just always off. I don't know. Or he's plotting to kill me. Who knows? I have no idea what his name is. No idea. So yeah, as I said, that's a kind of so that it's like, well, I didn't see him for the rest of the day. Kind of an anticlimactic story, but hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed talking about it. And my poop. So this is the thing. This is my problem. I don't know when one is supposed to go to the doctor, right? Like they say, like if you buy a lot of laxatives, like I do, or a lot of like poop helps. I think that's just a laxative, poop assisters, poop assisters. Man, that's funny. On the back, it says, if you experience diarrhea for more than 48 hours, seek help, go to a physician. The problem with our doctors, and I learned that a lot with my long haul COVID, is they a lot of times either don't know what the fuck they're doing or talking about, or they don't care. Like, if I go in there with my non-broken ankle, my ankle's obviously not broken. I'm walking around on it. It's swollen a little bit. It's not like a baseball bat, and it hurts. And like, and it's gotten, and it's sore all up and down my leg if I'm on it for too long. Right. But all they'll tell me to do is just like, "Oh, well, here's an ace bandage. Keep off of it, elevate it, and ice it." And I've been doing those things. And then with the headaches, like, I mean, when I told them the last time I had all these headaches, he was just like, "Oh, just take 800 milligrams of ibuprofen every 4 hours." And I'm like, "Well, what if that's not working?" He's like, "I don't know. That's not working." I'm like, "No." And then I told my new doctor about my serious IBS issue, right? Like this is becoming an issue. He was like, "Well, I think I told you guys this. I think I've told this story like 600 times to anybody who will listen, but it just makes no sense." He's like, "Take a probiotic." I'm like, "I do take a probiotic." He's like, "You got to take the same probiotic." And I was like, "All right." So I was like, "Oh, I sometimes switch it up if it's like something is on sale or whatever." He's like, "No, you need to keep the same one." And I was like, "All right." And then he put on the chart, having problems with IBS, suggested a probiotic. I'm like, "You didn't suggest that. I've been taking a probiotic. You're not helpful at all. None of this is helpful." The only time I've ever had a doctor actually help me is when I had the kidney stone, because they gave me a lot of drugs to help me pass that shit. Most painful thing I think I've ever experienced in my life. When I broke my arm, because they had to help you there. And that's it. The inhaler has been helpful, but my cousin-in-law is a physician's assistant, and she will prescribe me that if I need it. And like she was the first doctor to prescribe it, because everybody else was like, "I don't know, it's just COVID." I don't know. So it's like, when do I go to the doctor? I've cut out every possible thing I can possibly. I don't eat dairy. I don't eat gluten. I don't drink. I drink a lot of water. I walk all the time. I was running. I exercise. I stretch. Like, what possibly else can I do to help my body not be this way? I am so frustrated. And so you go to the doctor and they're just like, "Well, I don't know. But if this diarrhea keeps up, I think I do need to go," and be like, "Yo, you need to help me." Because they'll take blood and they'll be like, "Nothing's wrong." It's like, well, something's obviously wrong. If if this like obviously there's something going on, because if there was not something going on, everybody would have constant diarrhea all the time. We'd all just be living in fear that we'd shit our pants. And that's what I do. I live in fear that I'm going to shit my pants. Like, I have a contingency plan every single time I leave the house, just in case I shit my pants. You would think that contingency plan would be me bringing extra clothes. No, it's just like an excuse, like a backup excuse. It's not I shit my pants. Huh. Maybe the contingency plan should be I bring extra clothes. I just blew my own mind. I'm like, I have a contingency plan, not a very good one. I got in a car accident and had to go home. That's what I would tell people if I like poop my pants on the way to a job. I would just say I had a car accident and I'm in the hospital. And if they ask for a note, then it's not a very good contingency plan, is what I'm saying. But I don't know when I'm supposed to go to the doctor, guys. I have no idea. But here we are. And it would be one thing if I was losing like belly bloat, but I'm like super bloated. I don't know. It's a real problem. Your poop scoop today is more just me bitching and then explaining to you how you can send me your poop scoops. The mask mandates have been lifted. How do you like that segue? And I don't know how I feel about it. I talked a little bit about this last week about how I was at Disneyland and the girl I was with was like, you don't have to wear a mask. And I was like, oh, I want to right now. And it's like, we just all are going to have to get used to, people's comfort level. I was at Whole Foods, I think yesterday. Whole Foods. I don't know why my voice got so high. I was at Whole Foods and I have a bunch of text messages. I was at Whole Foods yesterday and half of the people had them and the other half didn't. And it was so funny because the people that didn't have them, actually the women that didn't have them just didn't wear masks. There was no looks, there was no anything. They just lived their life without a mask. But the dudes that didn't have masks on, you could tell they were just like mad dogging everybody that had a mask on. And it's just like, you know what, if I feel more like, because I believe the CDC was like, hey, we don't recommend lifting these mandates. Like, it's still real dangerous. Like, it's still protecting like the weak if you wear your mask, right? But it's an election year, so we gotta take those masks down so the politicians can. I do sound like one of those conspiracy theorists. I mean, I do believe in some conspiracy theories. I have decided I'm going to go down the rabbit hole of the Avril Lavigne conspiracy theory. Have you guys heard of this? That Avril Lavigne committed suicide in like 1999 or 2000 or something, like right as she was like popping, right? And so they, instead of just like being like Avril Lavigne killed herself, they like got a Avril Lavigne lookalike. And if you like watch videos of Avril Lavigne #1 and Avril Lavigne #2, they don't have the same voice, like talking voice. It's wild. I don't know. You guys know how I feel about Paul McCartney. I would love to meet Paul McCartney one day. Oh my God, I think I just pulled my boob out if you're watching on YouTube. I don't think I did. I'm going to forget to look, so let me know. But I don't know, the mask mandates, I'm just feeling like weird about them, right? They lifted in LA, I believe, once for like maybe 2 weeks last year. Maybe, I don't know. This, the last couple of years have really ran together. Like, I can't think of something that runs together, but you know what I'm talking about. And I went to Trader Joe's one time and tried not to wear a mask, and every employee in Trader Joe's is still wearing a mask. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. And I had to ask one of the guys about something. And I was just, I asked him where it was. And he was like, oh, it's over there. And I was like, would you guys feel safer if we wore masks? And he was like, we don't have to now. And I'm like, yeah, that's not what I asked, man. If you feel, I just like, I don't know. I don't mind wearing the masks because it does keep people safe. But I do know that it is like, all right, well, I have no idea. I also know this is the first time anyone who has been alive has gone through anything like this. And so it's all new to all of us, and we all should just fucking pipe down and be nice to each other. It's obnoxious. I realized today I have 2 friends on Facebook that were in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's another segue. As you said, I'm looking at my list of shit I want to talk about. 2 friends on Facebook that were pretty major characters in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. One played Jonathan and one played Andrew. And if I could tell 16-year-old Kim, if I could explain what social media is, because she wouldn't know what that was, I'd be like, it's a much more trumped up, not trumped up, that's a horrible word now, but like much bigger AOL, connected AOL, because I was obsessed with AOL back in the day. But when I first did comedy, so I don't know if you guys know the story, but when I was told when I first moved here, I was told I was really funny, and by this actor friend of mine. Such a weird story. This actor friend of mine, we used to work together in, and I think I've told you guys this. We worked together in this like sketchy phone room, and he was like 40 something, and I was like 21. And he was one of those guys that had been in everything. Like if you saw him, you'd be like, hey, I know you from somewhere. Like he's been in everything, right? There was actually another woman that worked in that phone room who her name is Dale Dickey, and she is in everything. I'm watching a Hulu thriller right now. I think it's called Up Next or something. And she's like a lead character in it. It's so fucking rad to just see people like this woman was so cool back in the day. I don't know how old she was when she looks the same as she did back then. So it's wild. But she worked at this phone room, and everyone was always like, yeah, Dale Dickey is like a working actress. And I remember I went and saw her. I was dating this guy named Ben, and Ben and I went and saw her in this play on the West Side in a theater. And it was the weirdest play, but she was so talented. And now she's doing, now she's in another movie. I mean, she's been in everything, dude. She was in Domino, I think, with Keira Knightley. I think that's it, whatever. But she been in everything. I don't remember what I'm talking. Oh, The Phone Room. Oh my God, what was I talking about? The Phone Room. Oh my God. Oh, Ben. No. Guys, brain fog. Oh, right. I was sitting next to this guy, Doug, who's been in everything, right? And he used to tell me about the industry and just was like, look, the highs are really high and the lows are really low. And he's like, sometimes, and he was working this job because he had a son that he also had to support in between gigs. So he was like, he was on CIS, I believe, or NCIS. I don't know. This was a long time ago, one of those shows. And he was like, oh, he was like a recurring character on that. And he's like, oh, once I get that job, then I'm going to definitely quit this because then I can get unemployment and it will be higher and I'll be able to support my kid in between jobs, whatever. But he was like, so I've worked all these jobs, and he's like, this industry, the highs are really high and the lows are really low. He's like one week I'm in People magazine with Anthony Hopkins with his arm around me. And the next week I'm standing on the side of the 405 holding a slow stop sign working construction. And he was just like, the highs are low and the lows are the highs are high and the lows are low. But if you want to do this, I mean, that Michael Caine said it too about this industry. Like if you can think of anything else in the world that you want to be, go do it. Because this industry is not for people who are like, well, I have other plans. It's like, no, if you can think of anything else on the planet you'd rather be than an actor or comedian or whatever you do, then go do it. Because there's too many people that this is the only, like, I have a friend, James, who is like in the Big Wangs family. And he said something to me years ago, and we've talked about it recently, where he was like, I got nothing else to do. This is what I want to do with my life. So like, I'm cool to just like hang out until I make it. And that's how I feel, like I don't have anything else I have, planned in this life except for this. And so I'm just going to keep on trying until I make it. But so this Doug, who sat next to me in the phone room, he was like, I don't really tell people this ever. Like, he's like, I never give advice to people in, these dopey jobs. I just don't. He's like, I typically don't even get close to people in these dopey jobs, but he's like, you're really funny. Like, you're really funny. He's like, if you could hone that shit. And he didn't say stand-up comedian. I don't think that crossed his mind at all. But he was like, you should go do UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade. And that's where a lot of like, comics have come out of, comedy actors. It's 5 p.m. and I'm drinking this coffee. Oh, it's 444 actually. That's a lucky number. Make a wish. 444 on 3322. I love numbers, dude. But he's like, yeah, you should go to UCB. So I signed up for a class at UCB, which is improv, and I was awful at it. If you've ever taken improv classes or seen improv, and there's always like one person in the class or in the group that no one really wants to work with because they know, you are going to have to carry the whole scene. I was that person. And before you're like, I doubt it. No, it's fine. I'm very funny. I'm not putting myself down. I just know, I know myself, and I knew I could tell, like, anytime I'd step out, the other person would be like, oh man. And I wasn't by far like, there was a lot of people in there who weren't funny at all, but like the game, there's like a game you have to play. I don't know. There's like rules, and I would panic and I wouldn't be good at it. So never good at it. But I was really good at the story. Like, so we had our show, like our graduation show, and how it was going to work was, we invited our friends and family. Our friends, my family doesn't live here, but we invited our friends and family, and they're the audience at the Upright Citizen Brigade stage on Franklin in Hollywood, and they sit there and we're like, all right, we need a one-word suggestion. We do that a couple of times, right? And the audience will yell out one word, and then one of us would step forward and tell a story about that word. And I was really, really good at that. And that's the stand-up comedy, right? Like, and so our show, our graduation show, like the actual improv, I didn't do very well, but I got to tell one of the stories, and I fucking crushed. And my friend Stacy, who unfortunately we're not really friends anymore. Stacy kind of turned into a racist. It's like 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't know. But she, I loved her before that. I wish her well. Maybe she's changed her ways. I don't know. She gave me my first flowers ever for being funny. I still have them. They were roses. I hung them upside down. I saved them. It's actually unclear where they are, but I know they're somewhere in my apartment hanging up. I don't know. But she gave me those, and she was like, girl, I think you finally found the thing you're supposed to do. Like, this is it. And I was like, yeah, I think so. And I still didn't, I'd hung out with a bunch of stand-up comics, but I never thought I had slept with a stand-up comedian, the guy I lost my virginity to. And I would see him, I guess, I don't know, use the word date loosely, but, I would always tell him how I wanted to try comedy, and he would always discourage me from doing so, that it was just like a terrible decision and it ruined my life. And I mean, this guy does okay now, I guess, but what a bummer, huh? So I never tried it. And then when I did that, and then after that show, I crushed. And then this guy comes up to me, and this goes back to the Buffy characters. This guy is very short, and he was short in the show. And I'm also like 6 feet tall, but he comes up to me and he's like, I just wanted you to know that you are very, very funny. And I was like, oh my God, that's Jonathan from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's Jonathan from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, I literally was like, oh my God, 16-year-old Kim is like, ah! I was like, be cool. I'm like, oh, thank you, Jonathan from Buffy. I mean, what's your name? His name's Danny Strong. So Danny Strong, Jonathan from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, once upon a time told me I was very funny. And I believe shortly after that, I tried stand-up comedy, and here we are. I'm in my closet, trying not to shit my pants while talking about these stories to a bunch of non-strangers now. I've been pooping all day, and it's just obnoxious. I don't know. That's your poop scoop for that. I did want to mention, this happened a little bit ago, and then it was like maybe taken back, but Tom Brady retiring. I know that that's a big left turn, but I don't know. A lot of people had weird reactions to that. Now, look, I spent a lot of my adult life on Sunday rooting against Tom Brady. A lot of it, right? We were a big rival of Tom Brady's for a long time, Denver, when we were good. Brady had a really hard time winning in Denver. We usually were the ones that took him out of the playoffs. Like, the reason why Brady didn't go to the Super Bowl in the last 10 years was because of the Broncos before, when we were good. I'm saying before Super Bowl 50. Like, he was supposed to go to Super Bowl 50 and we went because we knocked him out, right? But like, it's so funny. There's the reactions that people had after with him retiring. People were like, good, finally someone else can get in there and win. And it's just, or like, good riddance. Like, it strikes me as so bizarre when people are mad at people who are good. Like, first of all, Tom Brady is all class. Like, he's a classy motherfucker. And yeah, you can, and people are like, well, what about him and Trump? It's like, well, you can also say the same for Oprah. There's pictures of Oprah and Trump. You gonna throw her to the wolves too? I hate Oprah. But like, You know what I mean? Like there's pictures of Oprah and Harvey Weinstein. They were friends. You want to talk about that? Then like, and by the way, when it mattered, when Trump invited Brady and Belichick to the fucking White House, they both declined because he's a lunatic, right? So people who want to bring that and throw that in their face, I have many, many things that will make me mic drop to you, but he's just all class. And it's just I wish he was on my team. Man, I wish we had Tom Brady, right? Like, and I loved rooting against him. And it's just such a funny, like, it's just a weird human thing that we do that, like, I just never want to be that person that, like, doesn't love greatness, that shits on greatness. Cause this guy all class, and he is, it's on record, the greatest of all time. Hard for me to say. But, and then it sounds like he's going to take it back, though. Some people think he's coming back still. I don't know if he is or not, but dude's all class. And I also love when he won. I mean, Florida Tom Brady is so much more fun than New England Tom Brady. But when he won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and it was 2020, might have been beginning of 2021. I can't remember. But yeah, it was last year. And so like all the social distancing was going on. So like the guy who was interviewing him was like 12 feet away and Brady couldn't hear him. I don't know, Google. It was so funny because the guy's like asking Brady questions and Brady can't hear him. So he's just smiling and nodding. And then he just yelled things out that had nothing to do with the question. It was so good. I love Tom Brady, man. And I think that was just like, what a career, dude. And then like, he was also classy. He was just all class, man. And I wanted to like talk about it. It's just, it's so bizarre to me that we like put down greatness, that we put down, I don't know. And I've talked about that recently when anytime I start to get a little success, there are people in my life that like say shitty things. Or when I start a new project, there are people that say shitty things. And I think of that song. I don't know who it's by, but it's Best Friend. You're my best friend. She a real bad bitch. I think about that with everyone I love. Like I'm going to hype her every time. That's my motherfucking friend. And I've talked about this in the last couple of weeks too, is that like last couple of months that I've just sort of been shedding people in my life. Cause it's like, if you don't have that energy towards me, I don't want you in my life. Full stop. Right. Like, just so it's just an odd human thing that we like there's some people hardwired to like shit on greatness, like Tom Brady. It sounds like I was comparing myself to Tom Brady in there. I mean, I am a really good football player, but I wasn't. But yeah, so wild. Then we also might get Aaron Rodgers. I haven't kept up on that and I need to look into it. I don't want Aaron Rodgers, you guys. He's a mess. I think that's it. I think that is the episode. Yeah, let me tell you why I'm one lucky broad. I'm one lucky broad that I am starting to feel back, man. It has been a rough couple of weeks mentally. And I finally took a couple of days just to like not engage in anything. And I'm starting to feel back. Rest if you must, but don't you quit. It's going to be the name of this episode. So I think it's just, I mean, I always think about too, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but there's like a meme, I guess. It's not funny. So it's not a meme, but it's like, I don't know if memes are supposed to be funny always. By definition, doesn't matter. But it's like two dudes and they're running parallel, right? Like one's on the bottom and one's on top and they're running parallel and they're miners and they're both like mining, right? And they're both like, they got their little mining sticks. One of those called the like ice picks or whatever, like where they're like break the rocks to find diamonds. And they're both, one guy has quit, right? And the other guy is still going rapidly, but they both are like inches away from diamonds. But the one guy quit because he had worked so hard and never found any diamonds. And the other guy is still going. And he's like moments away from diamonds. It's like I'm reading the book Think and Grow Rich. It's a rough read, man. It's a really good read, but it's rough because it's like 100 years old. And also, there's a lot of like social issues in there that you're just like, Jesus, like praising, the founding fathers for a lot of the stuff that you're just like, yikes, this did not age well. But the message did. And it's hard to read. So I read 10 minutes every day. I'm almost done with it. But there's a chapter in there called 3 Feet from Gold. And I talked about this in an episode before where it's just like, you never know when you might be 3 feet from gold. So just like rest if you must, but don't you quit. I love that poem, man. I love it. It's interesting that my mom gave that to me so many years ago. It makes me sad sometimes because I don't really know her on that level. I don't know the motivating, don't quit lady. I never really had that person as my mom, but she did give that to me along with a Britney Spears Barbie doll, which was really fucking rad. So I'm one lucky broad that I'm getting out of this funk. I'm one lucky broad that I have really good friends in my life that support me through the hard times like this, and that like keep being like, hey, you're not alone, or hey, I've really leaned on them the last couple of weeks, and I really appreciate you guys. And I finally starting to feel back in my own skin, and gonna just keep swimming, man. Keep swimming, because you never know when you're 3 feet from fucking gold. Yeah. So if you guys want to send me your poop scoops and you want to just speak them, you can now. Just record a voice memo on your telephone, your cellular device, and just send them to me. Make sure you edit to where I can just play it, because I do like having a reaction. Like I do like recording my in real time reactions. So just, hi Kim, this is, you don't have to say your name and then just tell me the story. It can be as long or as short as you want. Just email it to kimcrawlspace@gmail.com. I would love, love, love to hear all your stories, or you can type them out, whichever you want to do. Just send me. Although, the way this diarrhea has been going, it's shocking. I haven't shit my pants yet for a new poop scoop. It is shocking. So, time will tell if this doesn't let up in the next few days. I guess I go to the doctor. Am I the only one that's like, when are we supposed to go to the doctor? They're rarely, if ever, helpful. Like, unless it's like obvious, like you're like, I'm having a heart attack, then they'll help you. But then they're like, here's $100,000 plus that you'll be in debt for the rest of your life. I don't know. So if you hear that I've had diarrhea for like a week and a half and you think I should go to the doctor, maybe email me and tell me I should go to the doctor. I might try. I don't know, man. This was a weird way to end this episode, but I think I do that every single time. If you want to become a Patreon subscriber, that would be awesome. You just go to patreon.com/Kim Kral, or you can go to my website, kimkral.com. You get a bunch of bonus episodes. $3 a month gets you a bunch of bonus episodes. And then there's other tiers if you want like a picture or I can't remember what the tiers are, but I would love it, love it, love it. I'm taking a regroup on my TikToking just because I've realized that you got to put like 3 to 4 up a day. And I think I got to batch them or bank them or something like that. And plus my health has not allowed me, the headaches and the ankle has not allowed me to do any running the last few days. So I've taken a breather, but follow me on TikTok. I will be back. Kim Kral, KYMKRAL on everything. Leave a rate, leave a review. If you want to buy my book and you haven't yet, you can go to kimkral.com, get a signed copy, or you can just go to Amazon and look up Confessions of a Recovering Party Girl. I think that's all the maintenance that I got to do. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to resurrect my comedy career in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to start getting back out there. So I will hopefully have dates for y'all very soon. It's just really, I'm just really anxious about the whole thing. The comedy world's weird right now, man, especially the comedy world on my level. I don't know if the comedy world on the higher level or the lower level. I'm like the mid level. It's weird right now, but I am going to get back out there soon. I think that's it. So if you're a Patreon, you'll get this right now, and you'll get each episode a week early. That is the plan now. And if not, these come out every Wednesday. I think that's it, man. I don't know. I think I'm losing my fucking mind. Be kind to each other. Be safe. Be grateful. You know the whole drill. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.